So we're going to move on to cognitive. You can read this yourselves, and I think we've talked about most of these already. How it impacts, how combined vision hearing loss and multiple disabilities impacts things for these children. Okay, so what are some of the things that are some of those milestones? And this is, we've got early childhood people in here who already know this. Some of you this may be something you haven't had much experience with. So there's some key things in early childhood development that have to happen before children can move on to the next step, okay? Object permanence, which is that an object or a person exists even if you can't see them, even if they're not there, okay? So if a child can't see her, first of all, they may not even know that the thing exists in the first place, so how are they ever going to know that the thing doesn't exist when it's not there? So obviously that's going to be a hard one. The cause effect, if it's out of my reach and I can't make it happen, but some of the activities that we've already seen will help with that object permanence and also with cause and effect. It's hard to imitate somebody that you can't see or hear. Okay, so you've got to find ways to involve the child. Problem solving is going to be difficult, and just that whole independence thing. So those are things that we'll have some examples of some things that you can do to help with that as well. Keep expectations high, okay? I can't say that enough. Don't assume he's to this or she's to that. This will never happen. We tried that last week or last month or last year or 2 years ago. Try it again. Expect it. Any of us who went through special ed or even general ed training and education, college classes, learned about the study of the 2 first grade classrooms where 2 teachers were told, that these kids have difficulty learning, and they were told that the other class had, that they were like way smart. They were the classes were distributed exactly the same. Some really high scoring kids and some medium and low. It was a mix. It was a heterogeneous group of kids, okay? But the teachers were told, this group, don't expect too much. They've got learning problems. The other one said, these kids are bright, bright, bright. Guess which ones did best? Yeah, and that's like a classic study. And so keep those expectations high. Expect that they're going to learn. All children do learn. And you expect that. The routines, the environments we've talked about. I think everyone. Number 5, okay, plan ahead about the words and the concepts that you're going to focus on. Again, you can't work on everything. I had a special ed professor who said, you can't work on every IEP goal or IFSP goal all day, every time, okay? And we know that we're talking about kids that have tons of goals and tons of things you're working on. So what is it that you're working on at that time? And be clear about that, and then think about, okay, I think she knows what a bottle is now. What are we going to do next? How are we going to take it to the next level? What's your idea? Or what happens at home, Mom, when this happens? Or does she reach for her bottle at home and at daycare, or just at home? It's going to take some communication and some careful planning, and it's like, okay, once she knows, you feel like she knows bottle, what's the next word you're going to teach? Make sure is it going to be open? Is it going to be drink? If one of you says, I'm going to teach her open now, and somebody else is going to teach drink, it's going to be harder. So if you can all be on the same page and really think about what's the concept or what's the word we want to teach. And of course, hands-on stuff, we've talked about that enough. Systematic instruction. So I'm going to give you a real fast Special Ed 101, in case you didn't take any special ed classes, if you're coming from a different discipline. And the last one, letting kids, we've talked about making choices, but taking risks and learning from their mistakes. We do this with typically developing kids. We're often reluctant to do that. I know families, can be cautious and protective with good reason. But anything you can do to kind of nudge things along,